Hi guys. Oh, so good to see you guys or to chat with you finally. We're really sorry about the live last night. We had technical difficulties and just couldn't seem to figure them out. So instead, we made a presentation to kind of go over our last couple weeks and our up couple weeks and just connect with you guys before we do the big passage. Yeah. I wanted to say, for starters, thank you so much to the community of Patreon. I can't believe we are here in our sailing career, and we never would have been able to do this without you. So these last couple weeks have been incredibly expensive. And that has made me incredibly thankful for patrons and the support that you give us financially, but also we had the opportunity to meet a bunch of you, and the emotional support and the community that we're building has been incredible as well. Met Chad Bremner, met Chad Rateliff recently. Jeremy has been reaching out to us recently. Chris and Adele have been great. And I'm so thankful for the community and the support that you've given us and the pillars that we lean on regularly. So we hope you enjoyed this presentation. And yeah, we're stoked to connect with you guys.
Yes, so we're doing this sort of like office worker style. We're doing a PowerPoint presentation that we're going to share that we've prepared. Okay, so hopefully this is working right. You should be able to see us still in the corner, and then our presentation. So yeah, we're talking about preparing for a Pacific voyage. We are literally 12 hours away, no, 24 hours away from setting sail. We're going to be one more day at anchor, and then we are crossing the ocean. So we're planning to talk about the last 3 months about work that we've been doing, all the preparations that we've been doing. We had a pretty big low point last week, which we're going to share that story. We're going to talk about the Pacific Ocean weather update and the outlook, the fleet that we're crossing with, sort of the tools that we're using to know how to when to cross. Our next couple days, like the last things we're doing until we go. How you can follow us while at sea, and we'll be discussing communications in general and whether or not we'll be posting while at sea, as well as our emergency communication plans. And we're going to talk a little bit about yesterday. Not only did our live stream fail, it was kind of like the whole day was sort of like nothing worked.
Yesterday was one of those days.
Yeah, it was one of those days. We were trying to leave to go stage with Punta Demita. We've been surfing today and maybe leaving this afternoon, but
everything went wrong.
We had a couple hiccups, and so it's okay though. We're still on track to leave tomorrow, and we'll explain all that, and then we'll go through some commonly asked questions. You done that one already?
Yeah, but again, I just wanted to go over thank you, not only for your financial support, but the emotional support that you've been giving us and the community that we've all been building together. We have gone up recently. I think we have about 73 patrons now. Wait, was that 78? And it's so fun having a community behind us. And so thank you again.
Yes, thank you very much. And if you don't support us but would like to, just head over to Breaking Waves Sailing on Patreon. And this is what our page looks like, and you can choose a plan that works for you. Okay.
This is me?
Yeah.
Oh, so we flew back to Bar Navidad and back to Kiana in December. I think we arrived kind of right around Christmas. So the last 3 months of boat work and preparations, it's been crazy. It has been so crazy. Honestly, we came down thinking we were going to do like maybe 2 big projects, and it turned, as boat work always does, it turned into several more, which we don't regret, but it was a lot of work. Some of the main things. Can we go over everyone?
No, we'll go through them one by one, but this is just the overview.
Yeah. So this is all of the. Well, there's probably even more than is here, but these are some of the big ones that we did on Kiana the last 3 months or so.
These are just like off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But there's probably so many more if we actually thought about it more. Yeah, Alie mentioned we were down in Bar Navidad. We're currently in the cruise, so we've done most of the work here in the cruise, but we did do a few things down in Barra, including one of our favorite upgrades so far, possibly the best upgrade. I don't know, we'll discuss it later. It's debatable.
Yeah.
Save it. Hydran, huge install for us. We had to decide between backup autopilot and more battery and more solar, or a different way to steer, so that if our autopilot goes down, we have a way to go. And yeah, to run our autopilot at a month at sea, we didn't have the power to do it. So it was either a big upgrade with backups and more power in solar, power storage and solar, or it was a different system altogether. We opted for the different system altogether, the hydro vane that doesn't use any power, completely redundant from the rest of the boat, the rest of both steering systems, and adds an additional rudder. If we lose our main rudder, we actually have a rudder and a way to steer the boat, which is really nice. So that's the decision that we made, and we're super happy we did it. We've only actually sailed with it like twice, so we're kind of out of practice. We need to learn how to use it, but most of you watching this probably know you've already seen our videos on it, and super happy with this install. Big upgrade for us.
It's dreamy. Oh, the stack pack. So we have a stack pack now, and I made it, which I feel pretty proud of, but also it just makes the boat look so much better and cleaner and sleeker. And one of the main reasons that we wanted to prioritize having a stack pack is so that we didn't have to go on deck to lower our main. Now when we drop it, we don't have to stand on deck in huge seas and flake it. We literally just drop it and then sometimes wait until we're in the anchorage to go up and zip it up. So I did make a video, I think just for, or a how-to list if you guys want to make it yourself. It wasn't actually that hard, but it did take me about 3 weeks. Also, I'm a beginner, so you could go faster.
So even though we went to hydro vane, we were kind of realizing when we were at anchor here in La Cruz for like 6 weeks before we went back and do it marina, that we just don't have enough solar and battery to run our boat, even just at anchor. Never mind while running a autopilot or something like that.
2 computers, a Starlink, and us working from the, like doing YouTube and working from the boat. We just needed more power.
Yeah, if we didn't have work stuff going on, like no computers and no Starlink, the boat would be fine. But anyway, what we used to have was what you see on that photo from above the boat. We used to just have the 4 panels, so 400 watts of fixed. We added another 150 watts of flexi on the Dodger, and it's been elevated, so there's a bit of airflow below it. And we added another 100 watts on either side of the push pit, the wings there, and they can articulate up and down. We used a Mantis rail clamp that they sent us, which was really sweet. That project took a lot longer than I expected it to. Mainly getting everything mounted actually took a long time. Just getting materials in was difficult. So that puts us up to 750 watts of fixed solar, permanent solar, and we have a 500 amp hour battery bank. And then in addition to that, Blue Eddy, really thankful, they sent us on the right there, you can see that power system that it's called a solar generator, I think they call it. So that's basically a battery bank with a built-in inverter system, and it's charged by solar. So that's another 140 amp hours of battery capacity, lithium, and then that comes with that deployable 200 watt solar panel that we can put out. So when we're at anchor and we're in like work mode, editing and charging cameras and laptops and Starlink and all that kind of stuff, we can actually go throw out another 200 watts on deck, and we can run all of that stuff from our Blue Eddy. And the other thing I really like about it is it's a redundant system. So
separate.
Yeah, redundant and separate. If we get hit by lightning and our entire electrical system goes down, we actually have a completely different way to not only generate and store power, but to invert power. So we could like potentially plug the Starlink back in if it's not fried or whatever. So to me, it's not ideal, I think, to not have like everything just permanently fixed installed. That'd be better if you had the room for it or the money or whatever. But in terms of like a short-term fix, this was a nice solution for us.
So we were going to do the water maker route, but unfortunately it was just too expensive, and not to mention the install can vary between like a day to a week-long install, and we decided to not go that route because it just took too long. But what we did do is we installed this water purifier. It's a 3-step thing, and so we have now a filter before the water goes into our tanks and 3 on the other side. So that's, I think we'll be fine. We also carry quite a bit of water, so I'm not worried about that, but that was a fun little install. We also got a Bouge RV fridge, which I am so stoked on this install. I don't think we can run it all the time yet, but this little fridge that I installed onto the inside of the nav seat with piano hinges, so you just lift up and you can grab it. It works beautifully, and it can be both a fridge and a freezer. Mainly, I was just so stoked to catch fish, and when we have fish, we need somewhere to freeze it. So this is going to be our fish fridge, or our fish freezer / our beer fridge when we have plenty of power.
Yeah, like if we're having friends over and we can load up that thing with a bunch of cold beers and they don't have to go into our main fridge, which is just full of food. Like it's hard to get into. Like
especially when you're cooking, the fridge is like as most boats, like you lift it up, and so normally I'm chopping and your stuff spread out over top. It's hard to get into that fridge. So this is our beer fridge slash fish.
And I forgot to add, it would go on this slide. We also got an ice maker, which is a really sweet, easy upgrade that I highly recommend to anybody that owns a boat.
Just bringing your body temperature down with ice.
Yeah, like we drink ice water all the time down here.
Ice water.
Yeah, it's nice for cocktails, obviously, but honestly, it's the daytime that I really prefer. Iced coffees and stuff like that.
Oh, so nice for days.
Okay, so what else did we do? I'm going to talk a little bit about engine and fuel. So I did all the main maintenance that you should do on a diesel engine before a passage like this. So oil change, oil filters, fuel filters. I did the transmission oil. I tensioned the belt, and I put an impeller in, which I don't know if any of you guys have a Yanmar 4J HTE, but the impeller is freaking so hard to get to. It's so annoying, but I roll up my sleeves and drank a coffee and did it in the morning when I'm past that kind of stuff and got it done. The other big thing that we did, this is a really important one, is that
this was a surprise job.
Yeah,
we didn't have any intention of doing.
Well, I was just gonna hire. So we've always had this third tank. It used to be a water tank under the V-berth forward tank. Previous owner converted it to a fuel tank, and it's got fuel lines obviously running back to the main system back here. We just never used it. We didn't polish that tank when we bought the boat, and so I just never wanted to go down that rabbit hole when we didn't really need the fuel storage that badly. But for what we're doing now, we could end up having to motor for like even 6 days potentially, depending on what happens in the doldrums. So you need a lot of fuel capacity for what we're doing potentially, or you just bob around and wait. But anyway, reinstated this tank, and what I intended to do is hire a local worker to come polish all the tanks and all the fuel and do it for me. I didn't need any more projects. But getting workers was getting difficult, and
they're so booked out.
Yeah,
everyone is trying to leave from the cruise, so all the technicians are booked out weeks in advance.
Yeah, we were struggling already with that, and then so anyway, they did come. They did polish our aft tanks for us, but they weren't willing to do the forward tank because it didn't have an inspection port, and they needed to hire somebody else to come cut the inspection port for them, and then they'd come back and clean it. I was like, screw that, I'm just going to do it myself. So luckily, Bill and Calico Skies had a spare port, and I bought that off of them, and then took a rotary tool and cut a hole in the tank. There was no fuel in it, so it was pretty easy to just clean it all out, and then I reinstalled the port, and I put about I'm thinking in gallons these days, guys. I'm sorry to my fellow Canadians, but I just think in gallons because we're hanging around so many Americans all the time. But
also, everything on boat spec sheets is in gallons.
Yeah, so I put in probably like 5 gallons of diesel into it, and then I ran that through the system just to make sure if it was going to cause like a fuel filter clog or something like that. I want to do that here. So we did that. Everything's fine. It struggles with priming. Like I almost feel like it needs like a lift pump of its own or something. It's got a squeeze bulb that it did replace, but I kind of view it more as like reserve fuel that we can then squeeze into the main tanks if we ever need it. But anyway, moving on. We got to
be sailing everywhere.
Exactly. Hopefully, we don't need it. We also have a ton of Jerry's. We'll talk about fuel capacity later, but yeah, it's nice to know that we've added quite a bit more fuel capacity to the boat because this is the year that we may end up needing it.
We did also top up on our engine spares. My parents helped with that, with going to farm stores to find parts that maybe were easily still functional, but a lot less cheap, a lot less expensive. So thank you to my parents for that. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked. We have a lot of extra engine spares now, which I feel great about.
Yes.
We did some davit improvements. Ben got some more pulleys to kind of ease with the dinghy being mounted or hoisted. I can do it myself now, which is great because I couldn't before. We do have a lighter dinghy now with our new hydro. What do you call that? Highfield. With our new Highfield, but I'm stoked to say that I can efficiently do that on my own now, which is great. My mom also came down and visited and helped us with some cockpit cushions. We also made a barbecue cover because we got our sweet new Magma barbecue, which is actually an excellent upgrade, and I don't know why it took us so long. I mean, I could say that about everything. We also flattened our Starlink dish, which we heard that if you take the motor out so it doesn't try pointing at the moving
satellite.
then
I need to make Alie a coffee.
I might need a coffee. So instead of the Starlink trying to point and motor around to look at the satellite, we have disabled the motors, and so that it just points straight up, and that has helped a lot with not dropping calls or not dropping internet while we're swinging around in an anchorage. So that was huge.
Well, it's not just that. It's like I hated having the Starlink up underway in like any more than 20 knots of wind when it was tilted because it could catch the wind. Like I would want to take it down so it wouldn't get ruined or we'd lose it or something. But with it flattened, it's like much more aerodynamic, and I'm much more comfortable just leaving it up in probably any wind condition.
Yeah, we also changed the mount and where it is so that we don't really need that crane so much anymore. We're trying to make the back less busy because there's a lot of gear on the back of our boat.
Well, the crane, you can see the middle photo too. The crane with the Starlink on it was shading that new solar panel a lot of the day. So we're just trying to prevent that shading from happening so we can optimize our solar.
Yeah. The dinghy was also a surprise project for us, but honestly, the Highfield is so sweet. And it's got a little fuel compartment locker at the front. You've seen if you've watched the videos, but it's a great dinghy.
Yeah, but to the point of like surprise, like that there was just so many things in the last 3 months that just sort of like wasn't on our radar when we got back down here that took up even just coordinating and receiving that thing took up so much of my mental energy and time that you might get the sense that we're a little bit burnt out on boat work and like because one of many examples.
Right.
Yeah, one of many of examples of things that we've had to deal with in terms of getting stuff to Mexico. It's been challenging. Next. Okay, so this is in the running for one of the top installs that we've done next to the Hydran. Code D, which is it's like a Jenniker, which is a downwind light wind sail, kind of similar to an asymmetrical sail, but it's on a rolling furler.
And it also can go up.
Well, to make it a code D, that means that it's also been designed to be able to point above 90, which usually Jenniker is sort of like reaching and downwind only. Code D can actually go up to we can get it all the way up to like 40 degrees. We did yesterday, which is like close haul almost. So it means we now have the ability to go light wind in many different wind angles just by rolling something out, which is honestly incredible.
It's a game changer.
We sailed it yesterday and it is such a pleasure to sail. It is so easy to deploy and pull back in. It makes the boat go so fast with not very much wind. Like it is, I'm so glad we did this, even though it was a huge pain in the ass getting all the parts here. I don't even want to get into all the details of it because it's honestly it's kind of crazy. But at the end of the day, we received a nice sail from Precision. Thank you, Precision. And we got all this gear from Selden, the bowsprit, the furler, the fairlead to take the control line back to the cockpit, control line itself, double clam cleat to lock that all off.
Torsion cable,
cleats. Yeah, new blocks for the mast. It was actually quite a big project, but
this also was a project that was not on our list when we came down. We basically saw Calico and we're like, what's on the bow of your boat? And he explained it to us and we were like, we need that. And I will say that we did need it. It is an absolute game changer. I don't know why every boat doesn't have it because it's basically it works in all conditions. It's fabulous.
Expensive, but
they are expensive. But it's fabulous.
It all started with we have like a 40-year-old ASIM, and it's like we can't cross the ocean with an ASIM that's almost definitely going to blow out. So we called Precision, said, hey, we'd like to get a backup ASIM or a main ASIM and keep the other one as spare. And then at the same time, we're talking to Calico and planted the seed. And this was back in mid-January, and we thought we had so much time. But we got it. We just finished installing it like 2 days ago. But it's awesome.
It's next awesome. Level. It's amazing. Awesome. We're going to be, especially for night passages, nobody wants their ASIM up. And so for this one being on a furler is kind of it's so efficient in any conditions. You can do it by yourself. We'll probably use it all the time.
We're going to use the sail a lot this year. And I think it just looks cool. We just added 2 feet to our boat. The bowsprit can actually retract back in. So if the marina wants to charge you an extra 2 feet, then you can say, no, we're actually still 41 feet. Screw you. Just lower the sail and pull the sprit in.
Yeah.
So yeah, love this upgrade. Can't speak highly enough about it so far. And moving on.
So another huge, okay, this is up there for favorite things, but we finally built out our V-berth. I don't know why we didn't do it sooner. It has made sleeping so much better. We also added a mattress topper to it, so our V-berth is the most comfortable bed in the whole world now. We added some twinkle lights, and then I also painted our cockpit light red so we can use it at night now.
You can see that in that bottom photo. You can kind of see the red glow in the back of the cockpit.
Yeah. The light has been amazing for, just vibes, and for crossing, we'll be able to have some light on at night. We've fixed our AIS, which was a really hard thing to track down.
That was a rigmarole.
Yeah, there was like 3 separate projects, and it's hard to troubleshoot when there's many things going on. So that took quite a while. But finally we do have our AIS working, which is excellent because I didn't really want to cross without it. But yeah, and then we also upgraded our VHF system. Our original one was 40 years old, and we found out that it really wasn't working anymore. So now we have a new one. Yeah.
Okay, this one's kind of a cool update. OpenCPN that's Open Chart Plotter, and I don't know what N stands for, but basically it's free online software for any PC or Mac. And you can add a GPS dongle for like, I think ours was like 150 pesos, which is not very much money. And you have an effectively just as good of a chart plotter as any multi-$1,000 thing that you could buy from Raymarine or B&G or whatever. So it's on our laptop. It's our backup chart plotter. We've got it set up at the nav station with our computer screen. So it's like a nice big nav situation. And, you could go on forever about OpenCPN and what's possible and capable of doing. But a really cool thing about it for the South Pacific is that I'm just showing you there in these 2 photos, 2 of the 4, I forget what you call layers or whatever, that I downloaded for this area of the South Pacific. So you have Google satellites, you have Bing satellites, those are images. You have Navionics itself. You can get like paper charts downloaded into there in electronic format. And with one hit of a keystroke, I can hit 1 and I can look at the satellite. I can hit 2, I can look at the Navionics. And you can just get different information really easily. And where we're going, these atolls where there's a lot of bommies and a lot of like uncharted or poorly charted areas, and a lot of visual navigation, not just looking at your Navionics on your phone and trusting that it's good, because that's kind of what we're used to. But where we're going, we can't, and we got to use a lot of eyeballs a lot. But then being able to scope out an area in advance with satellite imagery and sort of like compare different satellite images to make sure they seem accurate, I think is going to be a super good tool. And just, with all the problems we've had with our electronics, chart plotter was an issue at 1.2. Just having a backup chart plotter, I think.
What if we get hit by lightning? Then you want to have charts.
Yeah, and with its own GPS antenna, and like it's completely separate from Raymarine and from our phones. So yeah, pretty happy to add that.
Other stuff, we obviously topped up our fuel and our gasoline with all of our jerrys. We got a bunch more jerry cans to bring with us. We've topped up our propane. We got a bunch of barbecue tanks to take with us. We got so much water so many times.
So that's just say 22 gallons of gasoline. That should be a bracket, not a 9.
Yeah.
Hit the shift button.
Okay. And we did a total of 5 food and beer provision runs. My parents again helped with one of them, which was huge, but it took a lot. We did a full rig check that we learned how to do at a seminar that was offered in La Cruz, which is the next one. We did a bunch of seminars on how to read weather and what to look for when looking at systems in both the North and South Pacific and how they affect other systems. I learned how to do sutures, which I'm really stoked about. There's just been so many seminars where you can learn so much, and it's been amazing and really helpful. And yeah, my MacBook decided to not turn on one day, so that was great. So we had
credit card.
So we had to get a new one because obviously I make my money online. Also, I on the way back from the Mac store left my phone in a taxi. And because it was on airplane mode and I don't have a service card down here in Mexico, I could see where it was, but there was no way for me to call it or to get it back. So I had to get a new iPhone. So it's been expensive, but
an expensive few weeks for sure.
Yeah, but here we are.
Once you're starting to buy Apple products, so you're into it. Seminars, I'll just mention too. Yeah, in La Cruz, if you're ever thinking about doing this, stepping off from Mexico to the South Pacific or Hawaii as well, or even going south down to Panama or up into the sea, there's a ton of resources here, ton of shared knowledge, and the seminars are really valuable. I'm not usually one to like attend that kind of stuff, but yeah, I was really impressed. Mike from PV Sailing does a great job, and we had Totem down here this year, so really great information, and I just feel like we've learned a ton in the last months. So,
like, to name a few, there is how to provision your boat for the South Pacific.
there was the Open CPN
CPN, how to sail in heavy weather and what gear you need. Canning.
And there's a weekly gathering at PV Sailing where they go over the outlook of the weather, and they give you their thoughts on whether or not it's a good time to cross, and just
everything under the sun.
Tons of knowledgeable resources around here, and it's just a good place to cross geographically as well. I'll get into that in a bit. All right, here's the most recent
setback.
The most recent hardest thing that we went through. There's been lots of hard things on this boat over the years, but this one sucked.
This was a kick in the teeth while we were down. So over the last, obviously we've been working really hard. Our project list has been seemingly getting bigger and not shorter because we're adding on extras. And as you know, whenever you do a boat job, you usually start with one boat job that you're working on and end up with 3 more as you uncover them. So
this was just a week ago.
Yeah, this was a really big kick in the teeth because we installed our solar, and we were so excited. We were finally done one of the big projects that we did know coming down we were wanting to finish. We went with Renogy because for a couple of reasons. We had them already, but also because they were available on Amazon Mexico, which it's hard to get things here. So we went with Renogy and we got the Wanderer controller, which is a 30 amp controller, installed it, ran the cables. We're so excited for it to finally work. And it was programmed to let in 14.2, I think.
It should have been floating at 14.2. It should have been bulk at 14.4, I think is what the setting was.
To our batteries. And it unfortunately didn't work. It was letting in about 24. So the nice thing is that we do have a Victron battery monitor, which set off an alarm and shut down everything going into the batteries, which thank heck, because what was happening is that our controller was letting in way too much, and it unfortunately fried our fridge. So this picture is our thermostat for the fridge, and this is what happened to the back of it. It reeked.
We can still smell it. The thing's up. We keep this thing as a reminder.
Yeah.
And you can still smell it. Just if I walk a little bit over there, I could smell it.
And the smell is a good reminder, but it's also a bit traumatic. But this was the back of our thermostat, and it absolutely melted. So we sniffed around the boat. We found where it was coming from, and we were able to pull it apart. And what actually happened was our module also was fried, so the fridge wouldn't work anymore. And this was about a week ago. So a week before we're going on the biggest passage, crossing the biggest ocean, our fridge was dead.
And we were already in a mental space of like feeling like we weren't getting through our list, and that every time we did something else would pop up, and we were just already like pretty mentally defeated as it was. You'd had a few sort of mentally fragile moments already at this point.
No, also at this point, our head decided to stop working as well. So we already, again, like I said, our list wasn't getting any smaller. It seemed to be just getting longer. And then our fridge broke a week before we were supposed to go. I cried. This was one of my tipping points where I was like, I don't think we're going to be able to make it this year. Like, I don't really want to leave without a fridge or a toilet and like, it was hard. This was a really hard moment for us.
Yeah, I don't usually get too rattled with this kind of stuff, but I didn't cry, but I fucking sat out in the cockpit, just like so defeated feeling.
It felt like maybe we weren't going.
It felt like we've been working way too hard for too long to make this boat really nice for this year for us, and then to not have a fridge was like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Like, we'll have the backup fridge, but it's not very big. And
yeah, we did have the Bouger View fridge at this point, but it holds 24 beers, and so it wouldn't have been.
We had basically said, once we got over it the next morning, we slept it off and said, okay, well, there's no way, the way things go down here, there's no way we can fix this quickly. Like, we just have to accept we're going without a fridge. We have an ice maker, and we've got the Bouge RV, and we can put a bunch of ice in our fridge, and we'll survive. People go without refrigeration all the time. Not that big of a deal. We sort of mentally got our minds wrapped around the fact that sucks, but whatever, we're going still. But then, honestly, I wasn't even going to try and solve it. I was like, what's the point? I reached out on the cruiser's net, on the radio in the morning, and just sort of, I wrote it all down so I could be efficient with what I was going to say. But I said, basically I'm looking for either a controller for this model of fridge, or I'm looking to buy a used portable fridge off of somebody if they have like a 12-volt fridge they can sell us, or I'm looking for a refrigeration technician that anyone can recommend. And then our friends on Cosmic Debris, Ron and Wendy.
Woo! They're from Vancouver. Well, they're from Vancouver Island as well. We were in Chino.
Sailing Infidels on YouTube. they have a channel.
Cosmic debris.
They radio me back after the net, and they say not only did they give me the name of the tech, but they said they actually happened to have a spare controller that was gifted to them, which is part of what you're looking at right here that burnt. And they said, you know, we could have it if it would work for our unit. So I went down and I looked at what our old fridge was, and it was actually the same brand at least, so it was possible that they could work. And then I also called Louise at the same time, and
Who was the technician that
yeah,
they gave us?
and at this point, I was like, we've been through some bad luck with technicians, kind of, and I was like, kind of over getting like stood up and blown off, and I was like, whatever, this probably isn't gonna happen. But I said, you know, like I'm kind of could really use some help on this one. We're trying to leave in a week, and if you can come over, you know, I would just really appreciate if you can prioritize us. I know you're probably really busy. And he was an angel.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like it was Saturday. No, it was Friday night at 7 p.m. that he showed up. He had a look at everything. He explained that the module that we were given wouldn't work for our fridge, but he happened to have
the matching compressor.
So at his shop back home.
What? What are the chances?
Yeah, so he said, if I can take your compressor away tonight, I can rebuild my compressor onto this whole system, and we'll use the new module that you have that you borrowed or were given. And it's like, this is like a 30-year-old system. We were working with a 40-year-old system, which he's like, he's been doing this for 30 years. He's like, I don't even see these ever anymore. Like, I haven't seen one of these for like a decade. Like, can I have this so I can show my students?
Yeah, he kept it because he, I guess, teaches at the school nearby, and he's like, can I take your, like, it's okay if you want to keep it, but he's like, can I keep your compressor and go show my students, because I've never seen one like this before. So
to wrap it up, he showed up Saturday morning after he came over Friday night. He had the whole system running again by Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, something went right and easy and smooth. And thank God, because we don't have time to solve this.
I also I was like, I don't have the emotional capacity for this to be hard.
So thank you, Louise, and thank you, Ron and Wendy. You guys are lifesavers. We have our fridge back, and we're ready.
And we have a newer fridge now.
Yeah, we got a more efficient, newer fridge. And I mean, it cost us some change for sure. It wasn't free, but that man deserves every penny. So
yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to the weather update, routing, fleet, short-term plan. So I'm going to mention fleet first. We've been here in La Cruz Marina for, what, like 2 months, in the Anchorage for 2 months in the marina, and we've met some fun folks who are all on the same page. We're all been kind of like working towards everything together at the same time, lending each other tools, helping each other out on the boat. And it just happened to lines up that we're all just kind of ready, all of our good friends at basically the same time, and we're all probably leaving tomorrow morning. So that's it's kind of cool. We'll be able to leave with like 4 buddy boats who are good pals down here now. The weather update is, you know, even if we wanted to be ready today, which we were trying to be, there's no wind yet, and it's almost noon, and it's past noon actually, and so there's just not a lot of wind out there. The forecast and the recommendation right now is that there's actually a small window to leave tomorrow to get us out to Clarion Island, and then from there, that's when you drop more southwest towards the South Pacific. But it might only get us like as far as Clarion Island, and then we might have to anchor up for a few days and surf or
wait
dive or whatever.
Wait for weather.
Yeah, but you can surf.
What we're actually doing.
Well, you can surf there though, which is sweet. But you know, we'd rather just go all in one shot. But it's looks like we can go tomorrow, but we might hit a vacuum where we just can't go any further and have to wait. I'm gonna see if I can pull up, show you guys how we think about weather and what we're using. So here we go. Oh no, that's the PowerPoint. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay, so after taking all these weather seminars, I'm not going to get really into it because there's quite a bit.
Because we could nerd out on.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we could discuss, but we're going to go with like the main thing that everyone's kind of into. Predict wind. We got a couple models showing here. If I press play down here and pull this along, this sort of like goes out throughout to that's next Saturday. So that's a week of weather that we're kind of observing right now. And we're here where the blue dot is. That's Puerto Vallarta or La Cruz. The green dot I have here is, sorry, let me scroll on a little bit. That's nothing actually. I'll get into that actually on Navionics in a second. But I just want to show you sort of the general weather pattern. What we're trying, if you can see my mouse, what we're trying to see here is in the Baja area and California. if we saw like a lot more red and orange up in California right now that was sort of charging up this whole coastline through Baja and sending us a big northerly swell down, that's kind of the ideal window to leave Puerto Vallarta, because the strategy is to go west for like 3 days first. Everyone thinks that you just drop straight to the South Pacific and head southwest the whole way. But if you do that, you're more likely going to end up in a vacuum. See all this blue down by like southern Mexico and Panama and all that? You're going to end up in this like no wind zone, and you're going to just really regret that decision almost for sure. So what you got to do is you got to go more west first, catch the trades further out, and then ride them down to the South Pacific.
And you got to cut across the doldrums at the shortest amount, because the doldrums are the band of blue. So that's this band between the North Pacific and South Pacific systems, and it's basically just this band of no wind and lots of current. So your boat will just get pushed around and you won't have a whole lot of control.
Oh, I know. So the green dot, I remember now, so Alie's talking about the doldrums right near that green dot. If I just go back and forth, you can see a lot of blue in that area. So yeah, the ITC, the Intertropical Convergence Zone, where the trades both meet, and then the wind is often light, and there's also a lot of squalls, and sometimes you have to motor for like many days to get through. So 10, 120, that's 10 degrees north, 120 degrees west in latitude. That is the target. So you go west for 3 days past Clarion Island, and then you go down towards 10, 120. So here on Navionics, here's Clarion Island and Socorro. We're leaving from Puerto Vallarta. So we're going to, if you follow my mouse, we're going to go west to Clarion Island over here, and then we're going to start dropping southwest. Start dropping towards Marquesas, which is where ultimately we're trying to go. But we're going to get down to about here, 10, 120, which on predict wind. That's kind of close to where the doldrums is likely to be. And then as soon as we see it at that time, it'll be different then. But at that time, when we see a nice narrow strip, like maybe right around there, that might be a good time to just drop straight south and just
across,
and then just get right through it. And then you can carry on again southwest towards the Marquesas. If you go too far west, if you get to 130 west, you're going to get yourself in a situation with all the current and everything where once you are through the doldrums, you're actually going to have to fight back into the wind to get to where you're trying to go, which is like, you definitely don't want to do that. You can end up spending like 50 or 60 days at sea if you do that. So yeah, that's kind of a bit of an overview of how we're thinking about all this stuff. There is, like I said, there's so much more to it than that, but that's sort of like the 101, like weather 101 for Pacific crossings. Yeah. Okay. So how are we feeling? How are you feeling?
I'm good. I feel like today is the first day that I've had a chance to think about how we're going. We've just been so like overwhelmed with boat jobs that honestly, when people were like, "How are you feeling? You ready?" And I was like, I haven't had a chance to think about it. So today is our first kind of day off in a while, and it wasn't even planned. But yeah, so we are having a moment to think about it, and I am starting to think about it, and I don't feel nervous. I don't know why. I think we're just so prepared, and we've been working towards this for so long that I don't feel nervous. I am excited, and I am wondering like what it'll feel like. I know I will likely be sick for the first 3 days, although I have some incredible sickness medication this time around that I'm excited to try out. I'm excited to get going. I'm restless and I want to try it and I want to feel that feel. First, I want to go sailing. It's been so long. And also I just want to feel what it feels like to be in the rhythm of things and feel sailing and feel the ocean around me and feel that feeling of, not having land for 2,000 miles in any direction. So that's how I'm feeling. It's not so much nerves, it's excitement and restless to get going and to feel it and be out there. And I know I'm expecting things to break. But hopefully they're not significant things, and hopefully they're things we can just keep fixing. But I'm really ready. I'm excited, I'm ready, and I'm restless.
This is the same girl that I asked 5 years ago if she'd cross an ocean in a boat someday.
And
she said no.
Yeah, times have changed. I know what I'm doing now, so.
Yeah, I'm feeling restless too. I don't feel like I've had time to rest and to process the fact that we're like gonna go soon. So my mind hasn't gotten nervous in any way. I'm just trying to get us, like, I want to finish this. I want to upload it. I want to sail up the Punta. I really want to surf. I haven't surfed in like weeks, and all I've been doing is boat work every single day, morning to night. And I'm just yeah, I'm ready to shift gears here and start enjoying the fruits of our labor. And I feel just so well prepared at this point. Like obviously anything can happen, but whatever happens, we've prepared ourselves as best as we can to deal with it. Even a re-rig or a dismasting or something, like we have all our tools charged.
We have so much
spare cutting discs and extra dyneema and shackles, and just like whatever happens at this point. I'm not that worried about it. Like, yeah, I feel like over the years we've developed so many skills on working on our boat that just like, yeah, whatever happens. I'm
We'll
just
figure it
ready
out.
to go, and I can't wait to sail. And I'm so looking forward to surfing once we get there. Yeah, so I'm not nervous yet. I'm sure it'll hit like in the next 12 hours as we're getting closer to leaving, but it hasn't hit yet. All right, back to our PowerPoint. Why is it not? You think I like do this for a living or something, right? But... Okay, so speaking of emergencies, you want to talk about tracking first?
Yep. So we do have a tracking link. I have posted it up on Patreon for you guys and also for family and friends. We'll likely be doing up like our blogs again, our daily blogs, but you can follow us along there. Communications at sea, it is more expensive for us to have Starlink on than it is in the ocean than it is at land, so we won't be turning it on. It's not going to be on the whole time. I will try to do some posts, either shorts on YouTube or just on Patreon, or just every once in a while I'll be doing it. I originally said I'll be doing it daily. I would like to do daily, but I just don't think with the uploading time in the middle of the ocean that that'll be realistic, but I will do my absolute best for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually just talking to Brady this morning from Cruising Academy and from Delos, and him and Blue both really advocate for like just enjoying the sea time and turning off, disconnecting, and I'm totally intending to.
I'm for that as
Yeah,
well.
I don't want to be on a screen as much as possible. We'll use Starlink to check weather and send the odd update, our tracking link for patrons and family. But yeah, we're looking to disconnect and
enjoy it
Yeah.
and focus on the journey.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to one of the things I'm most looking forward to is the boredom. Like if things are going well and we're just sailing along nicely and we're just killing day after day after day, just reading books, and just in this modern society we live in, I think the opportunity to be bored is rare. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing where my mind takes me in these moments of boredom. So yeah, excited about that. In terms of emergency stuff, like emergency communications and all that. So I mentioned all these great resources here locally. PB Sailing is part of this Pacific Voyagers group, and they take by donation. They basically manage the whole fleet. Like everyone that crosses every year to Hawaii and to South Pacific, pretty much everyone registers with their email, or their radio if they have like an old ham radio, and we'll do a daily email to them saying our coordinates, our boat speed, and a check-in. And then if after we've chosen 72 hours, if 72 hours goes by and we haven't updated to them, they actually notify search and rescue. And then there's a whole protocol that they've been given on emergency contacts, our boat name and all that kind of stuff, or colors and how, just everything where we're going. So yeah, in terms of what happens if something goes wrong, we sort of have this great network here, Packboy.
This is in addition to all the safety gear that we do have on our
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
as well.
We've got Iridium Go, we've got something called EPIRB, we've got our ditch kit, we got like
we have
all
so
sorts of stuff.
so much.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about this is that last year when Nini Wahine dismasted, they were a part of this, and Mike and the Pacific Voyagers group were able to pack on extra fuel to all the boats that were behind him, and they all brought it to him, and everybody, it's like a network that kept everybody connected, and they were able to help him get back to Mexico just fine.
Yeah.
So it's a really awesome thing to have available to us.
Yeah, and like it's cool that we're also leaving at the same time as a bunch of our friend boats, and I think we're all going to agree to check weather. We all have Starlink, so we're all going to agree to check weather for like 5 minutes or whatever at the same day every day, or same time every day, so that we can also be on WhatsApp group text and just check in with each other, because we're going to be the most local to each other. Like if anybody needs help, we're all going to be the closest to each other. So yeah, I'm feeling just like really well insulated with all the different sort of emergency support out there.
What happened yesterday?
Wow, we almost sunk our boat yesterday.
No, we didn't. That's dramatic.
No, we didn't.
But we did have a bit of a false start yesterday. So yesterday we checked out of our marina. We head over to the port captain's office and we checked out of Mexico. So we were aliens. We filled up with fuel.
So that photo there, the Code D, that's the first time we sailed her. And one of our other friend boats had already cleared out of Mexico and was heading back to La Cruz and snapped that photo on the way.
Yeah. But yeah, so we got to try our sail out. The idea was we were going to go check out, fill up with fuel and water and do last minute things, and then head up to Punta de Mita, anchor there, and then maybe even head off today. That didn't happen, as you can tell. What did happen instead was when we filled up with fuel, we filled up with water, we were ready to go, we checked out of the country, we're aliens now, and on our way back with the sail, our beautiful sail, we were having a great time sailing, and it heeled us over a bit because we were going more into the wind, and a hose came off of one of our freshwater hand pumps. I was working on the head. It could have been me. I could have not tightened it back up again. But when it popped off, we heeled over and all of our fresh water, not all of, but a good, like, I don't know, 3 jerry's worth of fresh water that we just put in came out of this hose and went into our bilge. So we spilled a bunch of our fresh water. And
we were just lucky because I went down to use the head and I noticed that the sink, we forgot to close the sink seacock. So the sink was filled with water. And so I opened up below the sink to close that off. And I see just a ton of water spewing out. I'm like, where the hell is that coming from? So it was a pretty early lucky catch. Like if we had just gone off to sea for 3 days before we realized what was happening, I mean, we would have seen the bilge running a lot, the bilge pump. But either way, it was just like that. You don't want to lose your fresh water when you don't have a water maker.
Yeah.
We didn't know how much we lost, so we don't have a way to gauge how high our tanks are. So we just go by sort of knowing when the last time we filled up with, and like we just know the boat. We know roughly how much we use and when we're going to need to fill up. It's down to like, it's honestly just like a month when we're not even trying to conserve water. It's almost exactly a month between water fills. Anyway, we caught that issue and realized we didn't know how much water we had lost, and we had no other option other than to go back to La Cruz.
We're not going to leave without full water tanks.
No,
so
water maker, that's for sure.
It was disappointing because it felt like a false start, and it felt like we were worried that we were going to be back on the path of everything going wrong. But
we were going to go to Punta, and we were going to surf today. And,
yeah.
So then our live stream didn't work.
Yeah.
And,
so it was a bit of a rough day, but we're now back in La Cruz. I've already gone to land and filled up 3 more jerry's, brought them back. Well, we dumped our jerry's into the tanks to see if we could just fill it up that way. It was about 3 jerry's until it was full again, and then this morning I ripped out to land, filled up the 3 jerry's, and so we're back to being full. It worked out anyway because it looks like the weather isn't happening today. There's still no wind, so we'll head up to Punta de Mita tonight. Or this evening, probably right after this, and then stage ourselves, and then tomorrow morning we will step off.
Yeah, we're gonna get a surfing. We're gonna help our buddy Peter. He needs to go up the mast up there and solve a couple problems. He'll be crossing with us on Kessel, and we need to call friends and family, make time for some chats.
We also just need like a day to get our head in the game. And to just not have a whole lot of work and just, relax a bit and think about how
we need to go for a swim in the ocean.
We're about to cross an ocean. Yeah, the biggest one too. So.
Okay, so this is going to cut out at 60-minute mark. Okay. So we're going to wrap this up. We just have some questions we wanted to answer. Oops, give me a second here. Okay, common questions. I'll take this one.
Bruce, where is he? He's with Ben's parents. If you have been with us since our passage from Canada to San Francisco, he didn't have the best time. He never learned to go to the bathroom on the boat, and that's fine. He's 9 now. Sweet little boy. Anyway, he was a great boat dog in and around Vancouver Island when he got to go to the bathroom whenever he needed to, jump off the boat. The temperature was right for him. But we decided that the temperature in Mexico and French Polynesia were not really cut out or weren't meant for a dog with this much hair. And because he never learned to go to the bathroom on the boat, the passage would just, he didn't want to come. It wasn't going to work out for him. Also, he loves to play ball and he loves to run around, and the boat wasn't the best place for him. So as dog owners, we decided that this passage was not meant for him, and he's staying with Ben's parents, who have been taking him on many walks a day. He gets grandkids that pet him and play fetch, and he's living his best life with Ben's parents, and we get daily updates.
Okay, rapid fire answers now. We've
Okay.
run out of time. How long will it be at sea? I'm gonna say my bet 24 days.
I would guess around 25. Yeah, 26 maybe.
Anywhere between 21 and 28 days. Will we cross with Calico Skies?
Yes, they're anchored next to us.
Yep.
Right now.
We've been hanging out with them for the last 3 months, and we're gonna leave the same time. Is there a race or bet specifically with Calico Skies? I'll take this one. There was a bet. I actually called it off quite a while back. I'm pretty confident. Like we should beat them. We're a longer boat with a longer water line with our new code D.
We're fast.
We should win, even if Bill's a better. I acknowledge him to be a better, more experienced sailor than us, but we're just a bigger, faster boat. I wasn't really afraid about winning and losing the bet. Is that I didn't want my headspace to be about that. Like I was talking earlier about wanting to be bored, and I'm not really into sailing racing. I've never even been on a racing sailboat, and I just for this is a more spiritual, special thing to me than like beating a friend in a sailboat race. We'll do a race once we're there. We'll do like a week-long passage, but for this one, I didn't want to ruin
the experience.
Yeah, so I called off the bet.
How do we sleep at night? We don't. Will we keep sailing at night? Absolutely. The boat never stops moving for 25 days. Ben and I take shifts, usually 4 hours. We might do 6 hours this time. And some of us, so one person's always awake.
Where will we make landfall? Hiva Oa is where we've declared we'll check into. I think it's just wherever. There's like 2 main islands in the Marquesas that you can check into.
Nuku Hiva and Hiva Oa are the 2 places you can check into.
Correct.
We've chosen Hiva Oa.
Correct. All right, what's your favorite upgrade?
The code D. I think we're gonna motor a lot less, and I hate the engine. So it's beautiful, and you can sail in anything with it. So
I feel the same way because it's new and we really love it, but like I think haven't yet understood how to appreciate the Hydran enough because we haven't even really used it. But I think the combo of the 2 is just a deadly upgrade.
The combo of the 2 is wicked.
But yeah, if you take code D, I'll take Hydran. But I don't know, I'm just loving the code D right now.
Yeah.
How many beers would we bring? I think we have 16 cases.
16 cases.
So like that's like 390 beers or something like that.
Yeah, we have 16 cases of beer, 15 bottles of wine, and 10 liters of liquor.
Yeah, we plan to not drink it all on passage.
No.
For a little bit of rum we bought for Neptune when we crossed the equator. But yeah, we're going to be completely sober, but we're bringing that much because alcohol is super expensive and hard to find.
It's apparently 70 American dollars for a bottle of 750 liters of vodka there. So we stocked this boat with the intention of just being self-sufficient, at least until Tahiti, which will likely be 2 months from when we leave. So
yeah, food and beer and wine and all that, we're just stocked full. I've never seen Kiana actually down to the water line, but with everything on her, like all the food, water, fuel, propane, everything, it's like she's a heavy boat right now.
Yeah, we've also never filled all of her storage. I was always like, wow, we have so much storage. I could never fill it. Oh, she filled. Everything is filled. There is no. The other day we went to the grocery store and Ben tried to buy snacks, and I was like, we literally don't have anywhere to put that. So unless you want to sleep with it, then you can't buy it.
You filled up Kiana, all right?
Yeah.
All right, I think we should wrap it up. It's been almost an hour, and we need to get out of here. We need to go surfing before I lose my mind.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be like 3 months without surfing.
But thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for reaching out. For all those people who have been messaging us, we are excited, and we are excited that you're excited, and that we're all doing this together. It feels so. Yeah,
we're definitely feeling the excitement and the support from not just our patrons, our viewers in general, and yeah, this is an exciting time for us. We're doing it.
We did it. We got to
We haven't done it yet, but we are about
I'm just
to go.
We got to this point.
And
so
yeah, thanks for watching.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Look forward to sharing the rest when we get there.